Welcome to Mysteries, Myths, and Legends. I'm Taylor.
I'm Savannah.
Welcome to the show. Happy Wednesday, everybody.
Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday, guys.
We're halfway through the week. Hold on strong.
We got it. We'll get there. We'll get to Friday eventually.
So I wanted to bring up the fact that I'm going to Taylor's house.
Yay!
So if you guys don't know,
if
you guys don't know, we do live like 4 hours away from each other. And I'm going to visit Taylor.
Yay! I'm so excited.
I'm very excited. We're hoping that the weather doesn't ruin our plans. So
yeah,
fingers crossed.
I'm gonna have some serious beef with the weather if it does ruin our plans. However, we're gonna make the most out of whatever we can do.
Definitely.
Yeah, but still, I will fist fight the weather.
Oh yes. I also wanted to mention that I've been stepping up our social media game.
Ayo.
Like if you've been on our Instagram, or I think it's on our Facebook too.
Yeah, it is. And Twitter.
Yes. Just like look at the posts on there compared to the previous ones that we like have always had. I'm trying to be like an actual social media person. So.
And you're killing it too.
Yeah, so
So definitely go check out our Instagram because first of all, it was always cool, but now it's way more cool. So
yeah,
I'm just saying.
Yeah, definitely.
But also rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, please, and also subscribe to our YouTube because I have a good feeling in my bones there might be a vlog coming soon. I'm speaking it into the future because we got to do something.
I know. Our last one was so much fun, but that was so long ago.
It was so much fun. So, okay, yeah, we have to do it again. So, if you guys have any places that we should go visit, maybe do some little spooky things if there's anything available, let us know where we should go.
Okay, well, actually transitioning into my story, if you're good to go into my story.
Go right on ahead, girlie.
I might have a place for us to go, but also it's kind of far.
Well, I don't really care.
Kansas.
That's not that far.
How far is it? That's pretty far.
Yeah, I have flown over Kansas before, though. And so, it's really, it's like in the middle of the country. It's like we're halfway there.
Yes, yeah. Well, this story takes place in Atchison, Kansas.
Never heard of that. Sorry if you live there.
Yeah. It is the Sallie House.
Oh, okay.
You've heard of the Sallie House.
Oh, I've definitely heard of the Sallie House. You want to go to the Sallie House?
I don't know.
I'm down. I'm scared, but I'm down.
Well, I didn't even get to tell you about it yet.
You're right. Please tell me.
Okay, so yeah, you probably would be scared, honestly, because they say that it is the most haunted house in Kansas. And some people say that it is the most haunted house in the country.
Da, da, da.
But also, I don't know how much I believe that part of it.
Tragically, they do, in fact, say that about just about every single haunted house.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Like, that's what I was going to say. Why do they say that about every haunted house?
I think just to make it seem more scary, honestly, but it kind of, dulls that saying down once you use it every single time.
I know. Yeah. I guess since there's not really like a meter for like how haunted something is, like you can probably claim it for everything.
That's very true.
Okay. So definitely like one of the most haunted ones in Kansas, at least. So there's that.
That's for sure. Because I've never heard of any other ones that are haunted in Kansas, so.
Yeah. Okay, so this house was built in the mid-1800s. Very, very long time ago.
Yeah, she's old.
And it is located at 508 North 2nd Street. It has 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. And I did look up pictures. This house, it just looks like a normal house. Like, it looks kind of cute.
And that's kind of crazy considering how old it is.
Yeah, that's true.
I would think it would be a little bit ugly.
Yeah. I mean, it's only, I guess, no, it's definitely older than my house. My house was built in like the 30s.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like probably 40 years before that.
Yeah.
Um, because I think it says mid 1800s, but I feel like it's more closer to the late 1800s. I don't really know the exact year,
Yeah, for
but
sure.
you know. So they say that this house is haunted by the ghost of a young girl who died in the house while undergoing surgery.
Oh. Oh no.
Yes,
In-house surgery, never really a good thing.
I know. What was that other house that it was the house in Wilmington that had surgery? No, that was
Yeah.
the morgue.
Yeah,
Or
but
did they have surgery?
technically it's still a surgery. They just weren't alive.
Oh, I mean, I
But
guess
no,
that's true.
no, yeah, it's the Latimer house. And the kitchen, it was used as a morgue, but before it was used as a morgue, it was like a nurse's, it was like basically a doctor for like the soldiers.
Okay, yeah. So was that, I guess that was like a common thing, like before
No, for
there were
sure.
a lot of hospitals that you could get to? I don't even know.
No, because
Like people
doctors
who
came
would,
to your house too, just like regular doctors, even when you were sick.
yeah, interesting. Um, so yeah, that's sort of like a tiny bit of the backstory. But I'll get into it. This house has been on many paranormal shows over the years. It was on a show called Sightings in the 1990s. It was on Ghost Adventures in 2015. And it was on BuzzFeed Unsolved Paranormal in
Mm-hmm.
2021.
I remember that
And
video.
yeah, that is where I sort of found this story, is by watching BuzzFeed Unsolved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They went there twice, I think, and I just saw like the second time that they went, but
Ooh. Yeah, we love Ryan and Shane.
I know, they're the best. They're not on BuzzFeed Unsolved anymore. They just have their own thing.
Yeah. It's called The
Um,
Watcher. Watch
yeah,
it.
Watcher. Yeah, shout out Watcher.
For real.
Okay. So this house, it was commissioned by the Finney family in the mid 1800s, and it was the home of Dr. Charles Finney.
Oh, so he was a doctor.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So he practiced medicine in the house. The bottom floor was for surgery and exams, and the bedroom was his office, and himself, like Dr. Finney, and his family all lived upstairs.
That's,
So,
watching horror movies, that's a little creepy.
yeah. And I don't know how I would feel living in a house like that. I don't know.
I know. I mean, I guess people run their businesses out of their house still today. I guess it's not that weird, but I don't know. I just don't like the feeling of strangers coming in and out of my house.
Yeah, definitely. And especially like bringing sickness into your
That
house
yeah, that's
if they're
way
sick.
that's way no, I'm not good with that.
Yeah. Um, okay, well that's how they sort of lived though. And they ended up moving out in 1947 due to like they just didn't have enough room, so they had to move out. So they were in this house for a while though, mid 1800s until 1947.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
a really long time.
And then after them, a bunch of people lived in the house. But back to when the Finneys still lived there, I said in the beginning that this house is haunted by the ghost of a young girl who died here, right?
Yeah.
So the story goes that Sally, age 6, which is really young, she was brought to Dr. Finney's house by her mother because she had severe abdominal pain,
Mm-hmm.
and he thought that it was appendicitis, and he's like, we need to go into emergency surgery right now. Right?
Yeah, that's scary.
Yes. Especially like in someone's house, like in the mid 1800s,
Yeah,
it's just
that's
crazy.
horrifying.
So he, gave her anesthetic, and I guess like they say that he didn't wait long enough for it to take effect.
Mm-hmm.
And then he cut into her to, take out her appendix, but she died when he started the surgery because probably because of shock, because the
Yeah.
anesthetic had not taken effect yet.
Oh, that hurts me so bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really sad. Especially since like it seems like she could have been saved. If only he waited a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But I mean, if it was really that bad, maybe she would have died from her appendix. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. Ugh, horrible.
Yeah. Another story says the same story pretty much, except Sallie Sallie was the illegitimate daughter of Dr. Finney, and her mother brought her to his house so that she did not like get her name written down in a hospital. But I don't really know about that. Like, what do you think? Because I don't think it makes sense for them to, like, they're hiding her so much that they're not letting her go to a hospital just because he's the dad.
Yeah, that's a little bit extra. Like, I feel like nobody cares that much. And I feel
Yeah.
like people might just be trying to make the story like a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, and even if people did care, couldn't they just say like, "Oh, like he's not the dad."
Right. Like, I feel like people aren't going to just immediately assume this guy's the dad. Like, he's a doctor and a surgeon. Like, if she's sick, obviously she would go to him
Right,
regardless.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm sort of rejecting that idea that like he was her dad.
Yeah, me too.
So, but anyways, the another version of the story says that he just did this surgery without anesthesia at all and wasn't even trying to give it to her.
Oh my god,
Which is like,
I really hope that's not true.
yeah, that one's even more horrible. So the house was not really haunted per se for like a long time after that happened.
Mhm.
The Finneys, who, the original family, like they never really reported much paranormal activity going on. But I mean, I guess who's to say if they actually experienced any or not? Maybe they just didn't. There's nothing written down.
Yeah, that's true.
But other former tenants, so after they moved out in 1947, a few other people moved in throughout the years, and other former tenants say that there was paranormal activity, especially the male residents and visitors.
Oh, interesting.
So they have said that they were even scratched until they bled.
Mm-mm. Oh my god.
Yeah. So and Sallie, it has been called the man-hating ghost.
Okay, I love that for Sallie.
She's a man-hater. People say like maybe it's because a man like killed her, like not killed, but
Yeah.
his Dr. Finney was the one who I guess caused her death, sort of.
Yeah.
She's trying to get revenge on him or something.
Yeah, as she should.
I guess.
I guess.
And most of the tenants did not have anything that crazy to report, but the craziness started in the 90s.
Okay.
Which is crazy because that's a long time from when Sallie was in there and died.
That's true. Random question. Do we know when that doctor died? Like, did he die in the 90s? There's no way. Because I was just, like, wondering, like, maybe she was waiting for him or, like, waiting for somebody to go, like, to haunt it. I don't know. I mean, I don't really know how ghosting works, you know?
I don't know. I actually don't remember. You should look that up. I think it was Dr. Charles Finney.
Charles Finney.
Yeah, I don't know. But while you're looking that up, I'll just continue. So in 1993, a couple and who I think they might have already had their baby or they were pregnant. They moved into the house.
Mm-hmm.
And this was
Okay.
Okay. Did you find it?
No.
No? Okay.
Well, the issue is there are a lot of Dr. Charles
Well,
Finney's.
just look up Sallie House.
Yeah, I did that too.
Oh, no,
It
nothing.
doesn't really say.
Okay.
Actually, it says. See, it doesn't say. It just says Michael, which apparently is like a sibling to the Finneys. So,
Okay.
I guess we might. That remains a mystery.
Okay. Yeah, we don't know. All right. Well, okay. So in the 90s, in 1993, a couple moved in, Deborah and Tony Pickman. And after, they moved in, everything was fine. After about a month of living in the house, they started noticing strange things, which, it's just how it goes.
Yeah,
I
not
guess.
good. I wouldn't really want to notice some strange things after I move into a house.
Yeah, definitely not. So their dog would start to growl at random times,
Mm-mm.
at like random things in the air, at
Ew.
nothing.
I hate that. That's an immediate no.
Yeah, and especially in the nursery.
And where was the nursery?
Um, that was just one of the bedrooms upstairs.
Oh, okay. I really don't like that then.
Yeah.
Like, oh, how would I want to put my baby in there?
Yeah, well, they did, I guess.
I guess so. I mean, it's the baby's room,
Yeah,
so
it was the nursery. Uh, and they noticed a bunch of other things. So they noticed that strange mold grew on household items. I don't
mm-mm.
like that
No,
at
that's
all.
really gross.
Yeah, no. There was a series of attacks on the husband,
Oh my god.
Tony. Um, the area that was once the operating area in like the downstairs, it would become cold. So that's fun. Objects would visibly move on their own, and that includes like stuffed animals that were in the nursery. They one day they came back and like went and looked in there, and the stuffed animals were arranged in a circle.
Mm-mm. Oh no, no, no.
Like they were all facing outwards.
Like Sally's probably just playing around, but that's so creepy.
Yeah. And honestly, like, if you think about Sally as an actual 6-year-old girl, it does seem kind of cute. Like, oh, she's just gonna go and, like, play with the toys.
Yeah. But then you
But,
think like, Sally's a ghost.
yeah. Yeah. And if you hear about, like, these other things I'm about to tell you, it gets kind of worse.
Oh no.
So, candles would light and burn on their own.
That's a fire hazard.
Yes, it is. Disembodied voices of men, women, and children would be heard throughout the house.
Disgusting.
So I guess not just Sally, other people too.
Ew.
Scratching on the walls at night. So that's a big no for me.
This is a lot of things to be happening for these people not to just want to leave.
No, I know. And I'll tell you how long they stayed in there in a little bit. But they heard scratching on the walls at night. The husband, Tony, he felt scratches on his chest and abdomen.
Mm-mm. I
Yeah.
mean, she is a man-hating ghost.
Yeah. And they even tried to take Sally in as a daughter, kind of, because they were like, they found out that it was a little girl ghost. So
Yeah.
they're like, we can be nice to her. Maybe she'll be nice back to us. We can take her in as a ghost daughter.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably think the same thing.
Mm-hmm. But this did not really, like, she didn't really want that, because this didn't really do anything to stop her from being mean,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So another thing that happened is during their baby's birthday party, a doll caught on fire out of nowhere.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like, she's, like, committing arson now.
She's fully an arsonist. Wait, question. Do we know if that baby was a boy?
Oh, for some reason, I want to say yes.
Yeah, I want to say yes too. Like that might be like why she has a little like more. I mean, she has an obsession regardless, but like man hating, boy hating as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Nothing ever really happened, honestly, to Debbie or to the baby.
Mm-hmm.
It was mostly just Tony, but
Yeah.
yes, like, I get that. her being in that room and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And, you know, okay, so I said that the birthday party, and they ended up moving out after, how long do you think they stayed in this house?
Well, I mean, I would say like 7 months.
2 years.
Oh my
So
God.
they stayed in this house for 2 years, and they were renting too.
Okay, literally, I was even gonna say like 7 months might be too long, is what I was thinking in my brain. Because I'm like, I surely would not stay, not even 7 months. So 2 years
Yeah.
is wild.
They renewed that lease. Like,
They literally renewed that lease.
yeah.
That's crazy. But I
Yep.
wonder, like, if it wasn't so bad at first, like maybe just a few things were happening. And then
Yeah.
she realized that they signed the lease and she was like, all right, let's kick it up, boys.
Maybe. Yeah, like, I think the scratches and stuff were probably just at the end.
Yeah.
And before that, it was just like, yeah, like, kind of the basic kind of
Mm-hmm.
haunting
Yeah.
things.
The usual.
The huge. Uh, so, after they moved out, Debbie sort of like, she spoke about all of this stuff happening, and she said that she thinks Sallie was not actually the spirit of a little girl, but an evil entity or a demon.
So that's actually kind of what I was thinking too. Like when you said that there would be like man, woman, and child voices coming out of her.
Yeah,
And that
that's
like
true.
maybe, because demons, first of all, if you don't know, demons love to play and pretend like they're kids.
Yeah.
Because there's like a false sense, I mean, allegedly, but there's like a false sense of like, oh, you're going to trust like a kid because it's like a little baby kid. But in reality, it's a little demon. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe she's onto something there.
Yeah. Definitely could be. I mean, I guess the other voices could just be other ghosts as well,
Yeah,
but I don't know. They don't seem to
yeah.
show up anywhere else.
Yep. Something weird, something to ponder. Any ghosts out there can answer? That'd be great.
Yeah, really. So I have a little bit more to add. It was discovered in the early 2000s that a pentagram was drawn on the basement floor of the home.
Not a great sign.
Yeah, so this was like sort of like a dirt floor basement situation. And yeah, there was a pentagram in there. And they also, somebody did a luminol test to, that usually, that's a substance that highlights the proteins found in blood underneath a black light.
Yep.
And it did show signs of blood spatter in the closet of the master bedroom.
Oh my God, are you kidding me?
No.
No. That that's very worrisome.
Yeah, because, like, you would think, like, okay, if there's gonna be blood, it would be in the place where they were operating.
I mean, right. I mean, the last place I'm thinking there's going to be blood is in a closet, so that's like really bad.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that was found. Um, moving on. The house is not currently occupied.
Really?
Yeah, nobody lives there.
Oh. Except for Sally.
Yes, exactly. Sallie lives there. This house is available for daytime visits and overnight stays.
I'm sorry, we're going to Kansas, guys.
I'm saying, like, we have a place to stay. We can stay at
We have a place to
Sallie's.
stay. Okay. Yeah, we can stay with Sally. Oh, that's horrifying.
You do need to sign a waiver due to the potential for personal injury.
I mean, I'll sign the waiver. I'm okay.
Yeah,
I get, I mean,
but
we're not men.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
We, however, are going to have
And
to bring some men with us.
yeah, maybe. Yeah, we could. But no serious injuries have been reported since the last tenants in the 90s.
Oh, really?
With Deborah and
Okay.
Tony.
Well, that's good.
So,
Maybe she's calmed down a little bit.
yeah. Or maybe it's just like she just wanted to be by herself in there and she finally got them out. So she's
That's
like,
true.
okay,
That's true, too.
maybe. And she's like, I like my visitors, when they come and say hi to me, but
Yeah. At least they leave.
yeah, that's exactly. So, should we go to Kansas?
I think yes. I really, truly, honestly. I've honestly heard about the Sallie House for a while, and there's another like podcast that I love. It's called Morbid, and they went with Sam and Colby, who are YouTubers, to the Sallie House, and they had like a whole podcast where they talked about it, and they were like, it was absolutely like one of them doesn't believe in ghosts at all, and came out of that house with like a completely different experience. So,
Oh, wow.
kind of want to go. Kind of want that to happen to me.
Yeah, like maybe it would change my point of view.
I mean, you're right. I already do believe in the ghost. So, but I would love further evidence to prove that. So,
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
exactly.
always looking for more evidence.
I do also want to mention Deborah. She wrote a book called The Sallie House Haunting, a true story.
Mm.
So you can
So
hear it from her. And also, I wanted to say, like, I can't believe that Ed and Lorraine Warren didn't really like come close to this house. But I guess it was like
facts.
not in the right time frame. I don't know. It seems like up their alley though.
Yeah, that's true. But I don't know if they were still doing like investigating ghost things like in the 90s. Because at that point they were
Yeah.
pretty old already.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking too.
That's my guess.
If they were, they would have definitely hit this house up.
absolutely. Absolutely they would have. Also, have we considered the fact that like maybe possibly that couple could just be lying to have a story?
That definitely could be true.
Not calling them liars, guys, if you're listening. I'm just
There
saying.
is record of the doctor though,
Okay.
Dr. Finney, and him having like practiced medicine in the house.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like
So
saying this story really got them famous or anything. Like, okay, she wrote a book, but like, you
yeah,
know.
yeah, like the book's not that famous.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. So like, kind of wouldn't make sense, but always a possibility, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah, and I looked at you know, hearing about the story and hearing that the house is from the 1800s and stuff, it makes it seem like it's one of those houses like the ones that we've visited, you know, with all of the old furniture and like it looks so fancy and stuff.
Yeah.
But then I need to remember the fact that it's from the 90s, really, because looking at this house in like videos and stuff, it just looks like a normal house.
That's so funny.
A normal house. And then there's like stuff, they still have stuffed animals in the nursery. Just because, you know, that was part of the story that, you know, they would find them in a circle.
Yeah.
And like out of place and stuff. But it's just, yeah, it's just interesting to me. It's like, oh, I don't know, haunted houses to me seem like different than modern everyday houses, but you know, I guess it
Literally?
can be any house.
Literally, Savannah, this whole time that you've even been telling this story, I was picturing like a house that has like that's like so run down. We have to wear our shoes, like wooden creaky floorboards. Like I'm picturing like the worst of the worst.
See, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you either picture that or like you know, the Ronaldo house like I
Yeah.
was talking about.
Yeah.
Like one of those. But no, it's like this is just a normal house.
the regular. That's crazy.
Like I looked up pictures of it today and the outside does look like it could use some work, right? But like other than that, I don't know, it seems kind of normal. It doesn't look that run down.
That's so wild. I love that. That makes me want to go even more because that makes me feel less scared for some reason.
Yeah, yeah.
Like when it looks normal. Listen, I'm down to go to Kansas.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe we should.
I think we should. Pay a little visit to our little Sally girl. If it's even Sally.
Yeah. Yeah, and maybe we can maybe I should look up another story in Kansas. I don't know if we've really had anything.
I know. I was just trying to think back. Couldn't think of a single one. But you know what is funny?
What?
Our stories really have been connecting.
Oh my gosh.
And
Again?
this week we really didn't say anything. Nothing to each
We
other.
didn't.
And it's just funny. You'll see the connection. I won't tell you right now, but it's just hilarious. So, this week for you, I have a curse. Da, da, da. So, I'm going to cover the curse of the Wizard of Oz movie.
No. Oh my god. Not the Wizard of Oz when I did Kansas.
I know. So if you don't know, the Wizard of Oz movie is set in Kansas. So
Oh my gosh, we're not in Kansas anymore.
we're not in Kansas anymore.
Because we're going to Oz.
Yeah, we're
Your
going to Oz.
This is perfect.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what the heck are the odds of that? Like, the second that you said Kansas at the beginning of your story, I was like, oh my God, that is crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
It really
Also,
is.
The Wizard of Oz, like, I grew up really liking that movie because my mom sort of loved it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Also,
Yeah.
she has these little dolls. You've seen them, right?
Mm-hmm. I sure have seen them.
She has, like, collectible dolls of, Wizard of Oz characters. They're, like, porcelain.
Mm-hmm. That's so creepy. I mean, to me, I think all dolls are creepy. But
And it's in like a decorative cabinet.
the doll cabinet.
Right? And because they're small.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in the room that I used to sleep in.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Oh, I will never forget that doll cabinet. Mm-mm.
But they're not, I mean, I grew up with them in the house, so I'm not really creeped out by them.
Yeah.
But
Can't relate.
yeah, so Wizard of Oz is definitely close to me a little bit. So I'm
literally-
interested to hear.
No, for sure. I feel like it's close to everybody. And I tragically have to say, I'm probably, if y'all don't know the story, I'm going to break y'all's hearts with this one, okay? For those of you who love this movie. This is like my brother's favorite movie growing up, so I grew up watching it so much, but I actually
Yes.
always hated it.
What?
Yeah, I thought it was too long, too boring. Like, the overall idea I thought was great, but I thought it, like, the movie itself was just too long, too boring.
Huh. Okay.
So, yeah, unfortunately. But, and I also, like, I don't know why I got, like, a creepy vibe from it. Like, I don't know, the wizard, creepy. I don't know. Weird.
Yeah. I mean, I can definitely get the creep factor, but
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in a while though.
Yeah, same. Well, I saw clips doing this research, but anyways, so, let's see. But yeah, as I said, like, most people love this movie, and it's, like, literally, like, one of the most popular movies of all time. It goes down in history. So, pretty much everybody's seen it. But so before we get more into the story, I do just really want to give, like, a big, huge, flashing trigger warning for just about literally any and everything bad that you can imagine. I'm going to probably talk about. So
Great.
just, if you don't want to hear, like, a darker story, maybe just skip this one and listen to last week's because it was more fun. So this one's fun, just a little dark. So moving on, let's get right on into it. So The Wizard of Oz, the movie, premiered August 15th, 1939, which that's a hot minute ago. Honestly,
Yeah.
almost 100 years ago.
Yeah, we're coming up on the 100 years.
That's wild. That's so wild. And I keep saying movie because The Wizard of Oz, it is based on a book, but we're fully going to focus on the movie here. So if you are living under a rock literally and haven't seen The Wizard of Oz, I'll give you a little brief synopsis. So the main character is this young girl and her name's Dorothy, and she lives in Kansas, and a huge tornado hits Kansas, and it magically somehow transports Dorothy to this magical place called Oz, and she, like, goes on this journey to track down this man whose name is the Wizard, and apparently he's the only one that can help her get home. So she's like, I gotta get to him. So this movie cost in 1939 cost $3 million to make. Which
No
today,
way.
yeah. So today that equals over $55 million.
Oh,
That's
my God.
literally huge budget. Like, that's not huge today, but, like, back then that's absolutely huge.
They were just going crazy with the special effects.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
crazy.
They really were. It's really, like, the first movie to kind of use any of that stuff. So, like, it was a very big production. And by 1967, which is just, over, like, 30 years that it came out, Time declared it the most popular single film in the history of U.S. television. So,
Oh, wow.
and it honestly always is on TV. Truthfully, like, on cable.
Yeah.
Always on some channel.
I mean, it's a classic. Yeah. It's
Absolutely.
a great movie.
Absolutely. And the famous Judy Garland played Dorothy, and the movie made her a national legend. So, You know, we love
Yes,
Judy
I was gonna
Garland.
say we love Judy.
Yes,
We love Judy
we
Garland.
stand Judy Garland.
Mm-hmm.
But tragically, despite like all of this success that the film was having, The Wizard of Oz is actually considered to be a cursed film. And so there are like a bunch of cursed films. But yeah, it's like one of the first cursed films, really.
I do know about some things
Mm-hmm.
with this movie, but I actually don't know about a curse.
Yeah, so I think, you know, we'll talk about it more at the end, but like I think people just kind of call this more of a curse just because so many bad things happened.
Okay. Yeah.
But you know, we'll see. There's theories around it. So there were countless serious accidents on set. And the special effects, like you said, this was like the biggest special effects like movie that had like ever even been thought about at this point in time. And so the special effects team was Oscar nominated, which is like huge back then.
And wasn't it one of the first movies to have like Technicolor?
Color, yep, it sure was.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's one of the cool parts about the movie too. It starts in black
In
and
black
white
and
and then
white.
goes to color.
Yeah, so I do love that part of the movie.
Amazing.
And also, if you guys don't know, there is also a musical called Wicked that's based on this, and the new one is coming out. Like the movie version is coming out next year with Ariana Grande.
Oh,
So-
okay.
Love that for us. Hopefully that movie, you know, is going better than this one, at least. But so because of like all the serious accidents that were going on, some cast members and crew did end up losing their lives over this film, which is like really bad. And so one of the things that happened was two of the actors who were playing the winged monkeys were like, you know, rigged up in this like pulley system so they could fly. If you've seen the movie, you know the monkeys like fly. And something happened like with one of the strings that were like holding them up in the pulley system. One of the strings broke, which made them fall like really, really far to the ground. And they didn't say how far, but it was like extremely, extremely far. And they like ended up getting really hurt, and they ended up having to like drop out of the movie because of how hurt they were. And that was like
crazy.
pretty much on the first day of like filming.
Oh my gosh.
So not great.
Starting off strong
Very strong.
with
Very.
the bad stuff.
Yeah. Another thing that happened was the Wicked Witch of the West, her stunt double, Betty Danko, hurt her left leg really badly so she was the stunt double, so you know she was doing the dangerous stuff that the main actress was not going to do. So she was on the broomstick, which was also something that flew in the air, and like she was being pulled from one area to another area on the broomstick. When the broomstick got too hot, like the machine got too hot and literally exploded, all this metal and all this like stuff went into her leg and it caught on fire. So she literally caught on fire.
What?
So just imagine like a literal human being on a broomstick, like on fire.
Okay, how did it explode?
It just got too hot. Like think about the technology back then. You know it wasn't what it was today. Like
Yeah.
no air, no fans built into any machinery, I'm sure. Like just very dangerous, very dangerous. So and it's also like really important to know like none of these special effects in this movie had ever been done before. Ever, period. So everybody was just starting literally like from the ground up. Like, let's use this firework to like fuel something, you know? Like they were really just experimenting out there, which really cost people their lives. And also at this time, there were no unions. So if you don't, I don't really even know what a union is, but one thing that I do know is that unions today, they really protect like actors and like film crew. So like anybody who works in like the film business at all, like they're all like part of a union. But and like that's how they are protected, like with their safety and stuff. Like if stuff happens, like they will at least get paid for it, and like you know.
Yeah. So the unions basically like I'm pretty sure unions are like whatever group you're advocating for. So like the actors unions are all actors. And they got together to, you know, make things better for them as actors. And they sort of lobby to make laws. And if you're a part of the unions, then you get benefits. And like there's other unions, obviously, for different types of work. But yeah, that's basically
Yeah.
what that is, since you said you didn't really know what it was.
I mean, yeah. I just didn't know
They,
really
like,
how to describe it, but yeah.
yeah.
Thank you very much. But yeah, so like because there was no this was like so early like in the film career, there was no union. Like they hadn't made a union yet, cuz I guess like they hadn't really experienced anything that would make them need something like that, you know? So
Uh-huh.
they didn't really
Yeah.
have anybody to report to, no laws to like go back on and be like, "Hey, we can't really be doing this right now." So like there was just no protection for
Yeah.
anybody.
That really sucks.
It
To
really
be like
does.
in that, yeah, in that sort of zone where it's like that stuff is super dangerous even today sometimes.
Exactly. Like people still get hurt to this day. So like
Yeah.
the fact that they just had no protection is like really scary.
They were like they could make you do like anything. They're like just
And they
yeah.
did. Let me tell you about some
Yeah.
other crazy stuff that they did. So, another reason that this film is allegedly cursed is the makeup. All of the makeup in this movie made the actors extremely, extremely sick.
Did it have like lead in it or something?
Yeah, sure did. And
Of
amongst other
course.
things, so Buddy Ebsen, who was originally cast as the Tin Man, was just doing his thing on set. And only 9 days after he started filming the movie, he was hospitalized. And they had to like have him sit like in this enclosed space, and they called it an oxygen tent because he needed to be like literally secluded, and so he could just like learn how to breathe again. So if you haven't seen the movie, imagine like a full man in like a tin silvery costume with all over his body, completely painted silver, like because that's what he is in the movie. So his whole body was pretty much covered in this like silver paint, and the original makeup was made with aluminum powder, which is
Oh my
really,
God.
really poisonous to like the human body. So when the crew learned that Buddy had this like aluminum poisoning, the doctors were like, he's not going to recover quickly. He will probably recover, but definitely not quickly. So when the crew found that out, they decided to fire him and recast the role, and so they hired Jack Haley to be the Tin Man instead.
Okay, see that alone, like that would have been stopped by the union itself
Exactly.
because like you can't
You can't.
nowadays like they caused that and then they're just gonna fire him.
Exactly. And leave him in the hospital for what
Right.
ended up being months. So like that's
That's
really
crazy.
it's
See,
so
that's
bad.
also crazy that like this movie could have been different because it was supposed to be with somebody else.
Exactly. Like we have no idea
Like,
like that's
yeah.
so wild.
That's one of the main characters. So
Yeah.
that
It's crazy. It's so crazy. And I didn't even know that somebody else had originally like been cast
I didn't know that either.
for
Yeah.
the Tin Man. Yeah. So okay, but here's the craziest part. Okay. So I said that they had hired this guy named Jack Haley to be the new Tin Man. But this time around, they used the same makeup. Okay? I need you to know that. They used the same aluminum poisoning makeup.
Why would they do that?
But this time they mixed it with some other substance. I couldn't say it, so I didn't even write it down. So it's just like
So
this other substance that turns this makeup into a paste rather than just like straight up paint aluminum. So it's like a paste aluminum, and then that's what they used on him.
so they basically diluted it.
Yeah. They diluted it, yep. However, that didn't really help that much. He ended up developing like a severe eye infection in his right eye, and luckily it was treatable, and they were able to just like treat it after a couple weeks, and he was able to go back filming. But yeah, the doctors were like, yeah, it's more than likely from the makeup. So they didn't really learn their lesson on that one. Not at all. So another actress, her name was Margaret Hamilton. She was the Wicked Witch of the West, the main one. And she ended up getting burned on set as well. So I told you earlier her stunt double did. Well, so did she. So when it happened, this is so bad. Okay, this is painful for me to think about. So her accident also happened on the same broom that exploded with the stunt double. She somehow it caught on fire again. I guess it overheated, and the makeup artist on set had to rush as fast as they could to remove all of the Wicked Witch of the West makeup because it was made out of copper, and copper would melt into her burns very quickly because of the like temperature of the fire, and it would be immediately toxic to her. So they were trying to like get it all off before it could get into any open wound as fast as they could.
Oh my god, that is horrific.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. And I'm like, guys, maybe we should stop using this makeup. Um
Yeah, like, do you guys have anything else? Like,
like
I
is there
don't.
nothing like somebody call L'Oreal. Get them over here now. Like it's just so bad. And so it took about a month for Margaret Hamilton to, heal from that. But she was able to come back and finish the movie. So, you know,
I guess with this makeup and stuff, like, they had to have the brightest, best colors
they
because,
did.
it's one of the first things in color.
Yep. They definitely did.
That's crazy, though.
And
Oh my
also,
gosh.
like, if you think about makeup back then, like, it's nothing. Like today, you could easily order, like, cruelty-free, very safe, vegan color of any color to paint on your face. But, like, back then, definitely not. You
Yeah.
know? Like, makeup is still, like, a really bad industry, like, with using, like, harmful products even today. So, like, back then, there was just absolutely no regulations. So, yeah, it's just crazy. But, moving along, and horrible to say, a final cast member who, arguably, like, suffered the most on this set was, sadly, the Judy Garland herself, Dorothy. So when she shot the movie, she was only 16 years old, which is absolutely insane for me to think about. Like,
Are you serious? She was only 16?
yep, when she started. So that's like wild because I'm just thinking back to myself at 16. Couldn't have been like that.
Right.
And imagine being 16 and working on this set. I haven't even gotten to the worst of it. So it's just, really truly only downhill from here. So it would later come out, long after the movie came out, that her like really dark experience on set caused her really big issues later in life with depression and a really bad eating disorder that would continue for the rest of her life. It never went away, and that was fully because of the movie. And that's what she said. One of the most like well-known incidents that happened to her was during the introduction of like the Cowardly Lion's character. Dorothy was supposed to slap the lion and make him cry, like in the movie. And when she like had first filmed that for the first time, Judy couldn't contain her laughter, because she was seeing like this actor whose name is Burt Layer, who played the Cowardly Lion. She was seeing him like cry in full costume for the first time, and she's 16 years old, and she just slapped a grown man who's dressed as a lion. I would be laughing too. Like, come on.
And I'm picturing the way that this lion like cries.
Exactly. Like you can
if
see
you've
it.
if you've seen the movie, it is kind of funny.
It is funny. It's funny. It's so
Like the
funny.
way he does it.
It's great. It's like one of the most memorable things I remember from the movie
Yeah.
is him crying. So, and apparently her like little giggles can be seen in the final cut of the movie. So I want to rewatch and look for that because that's funny
cute.
that it made it in there. But what's not funny is that the director, Victor Fleming, was not impressed by her laughing and thought it was like very immature. And so he took it upon himself to slap Judy Garland really hard so that she would stop giggling.
Oh my god.
and then-
See, times really were different because
Very.
What?
Very. So after he slapped her, he screamed at her for what she said felt like an hour, but was probably only a couple minutes, to stop wasting his and everybody else's time and to get the scene right, or else something worse was going to happen. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, that is bad. And if you think about it, that's really at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
And as I
that's
said at the
horrible.
very beginning, I think this movie is extremely long, especially for the time. So, like, the amount of filming they had to do, my heart just breaks, honestly, for how much they probably had to go through. So, even worse than that, Judy claimed that the studio executives gave her uppers and sleeping pills so that she could keep up with the demanding pace of the movie. Depending on the time of day, like if she needed to be awake, they would give her uppers, and if she needed like a couple hours of rest or whatever, they would give her sleeping pills. So they were just like feeding her pills.
I mean, wasn't that time period sort of like those kind of drugs were pretty popular too?
Definitely. They definitely were. But also, like, she's 16.
But yeah, that is awful.
Like, she is really, yeah. Like, I feel like it was very popular for adults to be doing. So like it makes sense that they had them, but like the fact that they were giving them to this child is like really, really bad. And on top of that, they were giving her even more of the pills because they considered her to be too overweight for the part. So the pills that they were giving her not only would keep her awake or make her go to sleep, depending on the time, but they would also like restrict her hunger so that she wouldn't eat, so that she wouldn't gain more weight, which is just beyond insane. Because if y'all seen the movie, Judy Garland is beautiful. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Like,
Yeah, she's like perfect. I don't
literally,
understand.
literally she is. So what they would, feed her on set, like, because, obviously, like, in movie sets, even back then, people would get, like, food catered to them so they could eat. And the only thing that they would feed her, she said, was cigarettes, coffee, and pills. No actual food.
Oh,
For hours
my
and hours,
God.
like, sometimes, like, 24 hours filming. No food. Cigarettes, coffee, and pills, and that's it.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So, and what's even more awful is that, like, not only were these people like saying that she was like too overweight for the part, but people were also like literally calling her ugly straight to her face. Which I'm like, first of all, why are you saying that? She's not ugly. Like, stop lying. But also like what, like, just why? She's the main character of the movie. Obviously she's not ugly or y'all would not have cast her.
Yeah, see, that's what I have a problem with. Like, why did you cast her if you're just going to be mean to her? Or
Exactly.
I guess they probably planned to do this to any of them.
Yeah, that's my assumption.
Yeah, like just because like it's intimidation. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
understand, but
No.
that's horrible.
Literally. And so even the actor who plays the scarecrow, his name is Roy Bulger, he was really mean to her. He apparently said to her face multiple times, quote unquote, that you aren't exactly pretty.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, are you kidding me? You guys are disgusting old men with
Yeah.
your irrelevant opinions of how
Like,
this 16-year-old looks.
First of all, how old were they? Because
Disgusting and old. They were definitely old, grown adults. Like, I really can't. So, after all of that trauma that Judy was going through, after the movie wrapped, she was struggling really bad with drug addiction, and she actually attempted suicide several times before tragically dying of an accidental overdose on June 22nd in 1969. And she was only 47 years old when she died. And
oh my gosh.
yeah, so it's a really big tragedy, and honestly, like, the biggest shame to think that like America's #1 movie literally caused Judy Garland to die in the end, because all of her problems stemmed from her filming this movie.
Yeah,
Which
it's
is just
horrible.
It's so heartbreaking. And also, on top of all of that, there were many sexual assault allegations going around, but I just, this movie's already, not movie, this story is already dark enough. I didn't want to get into all of that, but I just think it's important to also mention that that was also going on at the same time as everything else that I've been saying. So just to see like what all this poor girl had to go through just to make this movie is really sick, honestly. Very sick. So, moving out of the horrible way that they were treating Judy Garland and back on to kind of like how dangerous the set was, there is a scene in the movie where Dorothy and the gang, which is like the Tin Man, the Lion, and the Scarecrow, they fall asleep in a field right outside the Emerald City, and it snows on them like as they're falling asleep. Do you remember that scene, Savannah?
Yes, and I think I know what you're about to say about it.
So that snow that you see in the movie is actually made of straight up asbestos.
Yeah.
Like the very dangerous cancer causing asbestos. Like it's straight, it's not even like a mix of anything. That's just plain asbestos being thrown on them.
Yeah, but did they not know at that time? Or...
Nope. No, and I should have looked it up, but I do know for a fact that they didn't really know that asbestos was causing cancer for like a long time. Which is why some people's houses still have it literally today.
Yes. Yeah, it's been around. Like, it used to be used for insulation a lot of the time.
Yep. So I think, and that's probably what it was used for, even though like what they were throwing on them, because it was probably like the cheapest way to buy something that looked like snow, if I had to guess. So
Yeah, I just looked it up. So asbestos, it stopped being used by the late 1970s.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like 40 years after this movie. So,
There was an act in 1976. So,
oh my gosh, almost 50 years after the movie. That's crazy. Yeah. So, and people did end up getting cancer. And of course, it can't be directly correlated to the snow, but it definitely didn't help, you know. So, let's see. So, there's also a bunch of really popular, like, urban legends surrounding the movie as well. So, one of the most well known is that allegedly one of the actors who played one of the Munchkins allegedly committed suicide on set during shooting. So, for years, people have been able to see what they think is footage of his death in the background of the movie, literally. And it's apparently like it's where they're like singing "We're Off to See the Wizard, Wonderful Wizard of Oz," like when they're like skipping down the little road, that part of the movie. And
yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I've seen the evidence for that. I have seen the evidence, and personally, what I think it does look like a body. It is very blurry and it is very far back in the woods, but the studio claims that it was an exotic bird that got onto the set.
Okay.
So, I think that's very suspicious, and I have seen the pictures for myself, is all I have to say. So, just had to throw that one out there. So,
Yeah, like what do they mean an exotic bird?
yeah, they don't elaborate. I think
How
that
would that happen?
like, also, I'm sorry, it doesn't look like it doesn't look like a bird at all.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So, I think they were just trying to cover some things up. So that's, not great. None of this is great. So, on top of all of that, this set, just imagine even going through one of these things, but imagine going through all of them, and the set is extremely, extremely hot. Now, I'll tell you just how hot it was in just a minute. But as you said before, this movie was one of the first to be ever shot in Technicolor. So, as you said, it goes from black and white at the beginning of the movie, and then it turns to color. And because of this, it required extremely large sets with cameras like hidden in every single corner, just everywhere, so that like everything can be seen. But because of how big the set was, it was really dark, and so they had to light it up. But because there was so much lighting, like when I say so much lighting, dangerous. Like we will post some of the pictures. The lighting situation was so bad. And obviously they didn't have LED bulbs at the time. So all these bulbs were like very hot to the touch. So that's what caused the set to be so hot.
That's insane. That like see, I never even think about lights being hot anymore because
Yeah.
most of the time
LED.
they're not anymore. But
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Because of the heat, like people in the cast and crew were always fainting and being carried off the set. And I want you to guess how hot do you think it was inside the building? Like, what's hot inside the building. Like, I mean, I keep my house on a steady 71.
Yeah, was it like in the 80s, 90s?
Tragically, it got up to 101 degrees inside,
Oh my god.
which is about 38 degrees Celsius,
There's no way.
which I can't imagine. I remember one summer my air conditioning was broken. It got up to 97 in my house, and I thought I was really going to die. I really did. And you know what? I wasn't even doing anything. I was just sitting, sweating. Like, these people were working, dancing, singing, all the things in this weather. Like,
That's oh my gosh.
and
Yeah.
also, I'm just like, how were they not disgusting looking on the film? I would be sweating
Yes.
so bad.
Yeah.
And think
that's
about
what I
their
was thinking.
costumes. Think about their costumes. The lion? Oh my gosh.
How are they not sweating? I don't
Well,
understand.
I'll tell you how they're not sweating in just a minute. But when it would get too hot, like too hot, which I mean, like, what is too hot at this point? But director Victor Fleming would have all the lights turned off and open all the doors so that the actors, could have a minute to step outside and have fresh air. Now, I would personally think that the lion would have it the worst, like heat-wise, but apparently the scarecrow had it the worst. So Buddy Ebsen was the actor. And he said that the mask, because if you don't, the Scarecrow wears a mask. And the fact that anybody had to wear a mask in 101-degree weather makes me just want to throw up. Like a mask, like a full face, full head mask. Oh no.
Yeah.
That makes me claustrophobic even just thinking about it.
Back to them being mean to her though, maybe that's why. They were all really hot and they're like, we're just going to be mean.
That's very true. The heat definitely did not help this situation at all.
Yeah.
That's very true. But the guy that played the Scarecrow, Buddy Ebsen, he said that his mask wasn't porous at all. There was no like breathing room in the mask. Like the people who made the mask didn't even think about him having to breathe. So even when it wasn't hot, he said it was like extremely hard to breathe. But because the mask wasn't porous at all, it was so like skin tight to him, he couldn't sweat because that's how tight it was. Like there was literally no room for his pores to open.
Okay, see that's, oh my gosh.
Yeah, that makes me just want to throw up just thinking about it. Like I can't. And
not being able to breathe and stuff. Like, how are you acting?
Literally. And he said this statement, which made me just throw up. He was like, you don't realize how much that you breathe through your skin until you can't do it. And I'm like, ew. Because you do breathe through your skin. Like, that's you, like, sweating and stuff. And I'm like, that's, I really don't like it. So every night after filming, it would take them, like, multiple hours for the makeup people to peel the mask off his face. And that's just the mask. Ugh, disgusting. And by the end of filming, he had permanent lines near his chin and mouth from the mask being ripped off every day.
Oh my god.
Because that's how tight it was on him.
Oh my god. And they probably like glued it with some sort of toxic
actual
substance.
Glue. Yeah. like E6000 or whatever it's called.
Probably.
Literally.
The craft glue.
Literally. So, some people believe that like all of this is because of a curse. And so specifically, people think that there's multiple theories, but one of them is that the director, Victor Fleming, that he himself was cursed and that's why the whole movie was cursed. Because apparently everybody was just like, Victor Fleming is like a really bad man. I personally don't know anything about him other than this story. So to me, he sounds pretty bad, but people were like, yeah, he's evil. So that's why there's a curse. I think that's not probably true. But what other people believe is that, so I did mention this movie is based on a book, right? And so this book, there's a lot of controversy over it. And it's actually one of the banned books. And it's been banned for, I think, even my entire existence.
Oh.
Because I remember it was banned at like the libraries in my schools, even growing up. So, I haven't ever read it. So I don't know like the difference between it or like really why it's even banned. And I couldn't really find too much of an explanation without getting too political of things. So, I don't really know even why it's banned. But this like whole banned book situation of people thinking that it's evil, they're like, oh, this is the devil's work. So it must be a curse. So I think that's really where like this curse aspect stems from more than there actually being a curse. Because I really think this is just like people don't know what they're doing. And people are getting hurt really bad. More than a curse.
Yeah. I did just look up why the book was banned, though.
Okay, and what did it say?
So, there's different reasons, actually.
Interesting.
It says that it was banned in 1928, which is really that old?
Yeah.
For depicting women in strong leadership roles.
Okay, great.
It was banned more recently because of the novel's depiction of nice witches.
Interesting.
And it has been banned for being untrue to life.
Okay.
So
that's
just
very interesting.
Yeah. And for having no value.
Okay, I did see the no value. They were like, there's no lesson behind the story.
Right.
Okay, there doesn't always have to be a lesson.
Yeah, so like why do you have to ban it just because of that?
Yeah, that's really weird. But the part that people I think like get really caught up on is the fact that there are witches and magic, so they're like, that's some demons going on.
Something else here saying that it's promoting like negativity, but it's like I don't know if it is really.
Like how? So, because there's witches? I mean, they're still evil in the movie. I don't know.
Yeah, like there is Glenda the Good Witch.
Yeah, exactly. That's who
But-
Ariana Grande plays, by the way.
Oh, okay. That's a good role for her.
Truly.
But yeah, so I guess people don't like that. They're like, no, there can't be good witches.
Yeah. So
But-
stupid.
I don't know. It's probably the same reason that like Harry Potter's banned in some places.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
For dumb reasons.
Very dumb reasons. So, overall, I really don't think like an actual curse has anything to do with like how bad this film is, but that's just what people call it, the curse of the Wizard of Oz. But also, there could be a curse on top of people just being neglectful, Could be a double whammy. I don't know. It's, not out of the realm possibility. Crazier things have happened.
That's true.
So I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I mean, all of this stuff, it just sounds like it just is all of the stereotypes from the past where it's like, okay, they had toxic chemicals and like hot lights and all of this stuff just built together to make a bad situation.
Yeah.
But somehow they still made a good movie. So
somehow some way.
Yeah, they still
That's
made
true.
a pretty good movie.
I guess that's the evil of
But-
Hollywood.
Yeah, honestly, that is very... This whole thing is like a stereotype of what Hollywood is like.
For
It's
sure.
like-
It's really what it turned into. Like, this was the first movie that it happened. At least,
Yeah.
first well-known movie that happened. And it really hasn't gotten better since then. Not too much.
Yeah. And, okay, so you talking about Judy Garland, sort of, it just reminded me of Drew Barrymore.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And it's just like, my heart breaks for both of them.
Literally.
And there's definitely like other people too that this has happened to.
Most
But like
definitely.
those just like pop into my head and it's just like, it's just horrible.
It's horrible. Because, like,
How-
you think about, like, how excited, like, especially, like, Judy Garland must have been to have this role. And then,
Yes,
like,
yeah.
it's, like, very famous, but then she had to endure all that, and now
Yeah.
it's just awful. It's awful.
Yeah. Hollywood can be evil. Maybe it's just the curse of Hollywood itself.
Maybe, okay, and that's a whole other thing. So, maybe we'll have to come back to that one. So,
Yeah,
who
maybe.
knows? But that's the curse of the Wizard of Oz.
Wow. Now I feel like at first I was wanting to watch this movie again, but now I feel like I can't until I forget about all of this stuff.
I know. And, like, even when you watch it again, I feel like you're just going to be thinking about what I said.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah, when I watched it when I was little, the Scarecrow used to be my favorite character.
Well, apparently he's kind of mean.
Yeah.
Very mean to a literal baby. So, I don't know. Really crazy though. But definitely go look at our Instagram, our fun, new and improved Instagram per Savannah.
Yes. Hopefully I can keep it up with these cool posts.
You got it, man.
It takes a little bit more effort. But
We believe in you. Absolutely. But also go rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
yes, have a great rest of your week.
Yes.
We're leaving you off with that.
Yeah. Live your best life. And I guess we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah. Cue the music.